Boxing truth here. Jermall Charlo is about to be handed a WBC strap without doing much, fighting cripples, inactivity, in-house fights with the PBC for interim straps against Hugo Centeno. Very predictable fight that was going to occur. Still no date, still no venue, still no word on when that fight's going to happen. So, very slow movement when it comes to Jermall Charlo's career. I like Jermall Charlo. Better fighter of the two brothers. The real prize fighter here. But his career has stagnated. Lost momentum from the fight against Julian Williams where he exposed him. Took 7 months off. Fought a crippled who came in for a payday. Didn't really give an honest effort. Had no legs under him, and it took Jermall 4 rounds to dispatch of him. And he earned his #1 status for WBC by fighting a crippled. So Abel Sanchez, Golovkin's trainer, has a point when he says Charlo hasn't done jack shit, not really worthy of a title shot. And you really can't argue that. What's Charlo done? He was a champion at 54. Now he's being highly rated by WBC. Gets a mandatory position fighting a crippled. Gets to fight an in-house fight instead of fighting a contender outside of the PBC universe. WBC is in on it. They pretty much give him whatever the fuck he wants for a sanctioning fee, of course. I just want to see more resistance for Charlo's uprise in the middleweight rankings instead of fighting crippled and then fighting in-house fights against Hugo Centeno Jr. Would have liked to see Charlo fight a legitimate contender in WBC rankings. Someone that's not involved with Heyman. Someone that's not going to possibly lay down for the A-side fighter. Just never know with the PBC. Would have been more interested if Matt Korobov would have gotten the call to fight Jermall Charlo for the interim strap. Korobov is looking for a big fight. He's parted ways with Top Rank. That would have been more of a real fight, since Korobov's not really involved with anybody right now. There would have been other opponents I would have preferred. Andy Lee would have been a little bit better. At least Andy Lee maybe would have given honest effort. Demetrius Andrade could have been called. He's rated #7. He would give an honest effort. Of course, it would be a co-promoted bout. So, of course, it would have been all on the line. It would have been a real fight. But Andrade's with HBO. Charles with the PBC Universe, Showtime. So it's very predictable that Centeno is going to be the opponent for Charlo for the interim strap. The thing is, though, I'm already going to predict it. Charlo's going to be handed the WBC belt, and he'll make defenses against in-house PBC fights. Won't fight anybody outside of the universe. Won't fight Golovkin. Won't fight Canelo Alvarez. Because here's what's going to happen. Canelo's going to beat Triple G in the rematch. It's already set in stone. It's going to happen. Whether it's by knockout or by a clear-cut decision, I don't know. But I'm very confident Canelo wins a rematch against Gennady Golovkin. He has a certain beef with WBC. Refused to fight for their bullshit Mexican belt in the Chavez Jr. fight. Didn't pay a sanctioning fee for the Golovkin fight. Refused to pay the sanctioning fee and refused to fight for their title. He only pays sanctioning fees for their IBF and the WBA, I believe. So he was gunning for 2 straps in the Golovkin fight last September. The WBC was left out by Canelo's team. And I'm pretty sure the same is going to occur for the rematch. I don't blame Canelo. He's not thrilled with the WBC. WBC showed a lot more favorable treatment to other superstars, Heyman fighters, Floyd Mayweather, for instance. Never enforced mandatories on him, but yet Canelo was a fighter around the same stature, same type of star power, and yet they're enforcing mandatories on him. So Canelo felt disrespected for the lack of star treatment by WBC, forcing a superstar fighter to make a mandatory defense, try to dictate the terms, and Canelo vacated the strap, refusing to give that type of percentage to Golovkin in the mandatory defense. They fight. About a year later, they get a draw, and the same thing's going to happen in the rematch when Canelo refuses to fight for the WBC title. He'll beat Golovkin by whatever means, whether by knockout or decision. The title will remain vacant. Canelo will leave with the WBA IBF straps. Will fight whoever is among the rankings, or maybe unify with Billy Joe Saunders. There's actually claims that Golden Boy wouldn't make that fight. Canelo ain't scared of no Billy Joe Saunders. Let's put it that way. And Charlo, he's not going to be able to fight Canelo or Golovkin, unless Golovkin, of course, is still high in the rankings. If he loses, when he loses, he could fight for the WBC title against Charlo for the vacant title. Actually, yeah, for the vacant title, or Charlo will be installed as the full title holder. I believe from what I read, since he's gonna fight for an interim strap, and if Golovkin and Canelo don't fight him next, he'll be installed as his full title holder. If Golovkin wins the rematch, Charlo's not going to be the number one option on the table. Billy Joe Saunders will be the number one option. And I'm sure the WBC will accept the request for an exemption or step aside money to be put in place for Golovkin to fight Saunders, since that's a more significant fight. It will be for all the marbles. And it's a little bit more of a lucrative fight too, since there'll be 5 belts on the line for all the marbles in the middleweight division. That's just, of course, if Golovkin wins. And Charlo's not going to be the number one option for Golovkin if he beats Canelo in the rematch. So either Charlo will have to wait a little more to become champion, but most likely the scenario will be he will be given the strap by WBC. He will be installed as WBC champion from beating a crippled and from beating a Hugo Centeno Jr. And on the verge of being 28 years old, with about only 26 fights, his best win to date is a hype job in Julian Williams and a life and death struggle with Austin Trout. 2 world titles under his belt. If, of course, Canelo beats Triple G in the rematch. And then Charlo will be installed as a full title holder. And he's probably not going to fight none of the big name middleweights, at least on the HBO side. So what's really Charlo's vision? I mean, he's in a position where he's with Heyman, but no star fighters are on his side. No big fights. So he's fighting these type of opponents. And HBO has all the big middleweights. So how are these fights going to get made for Charlo in the future? I mean, how's he even going to fight some of these guys if they're not in mandatory position, or if he's not pushing his mandatory status on one of these guys? He's going to have to do what Jacobs did. Go across the street if he wants one of these fights. But I'm not so sure if Heyman's willing to allow Charlo to cross that street to fight one of these star fighters on HBO. So there's a lot of network conflicts, issues for Charlo in getting a big fight in the middleweight division. He can't even get a Demetrius Andrade fight either. He fights on HBO. So there's a lot of questions surrounding Jermall Charlo's career. He's in a division where he really is not in position to fight a lot of these guys. He's only in position to fight Golovkin if he wins the rematch, of course, against Canelo. That's his only option, realistic option, of him fighting a big name in the middleweight division. And it will still be a tough negotiation among those two teams. So I like Jermall Charlo, but he's with the wrong promotion for this division. There's a lot of conflicts involved in him trying to get some of these fights. I don't know where he goes from here. I suspect a dull reign with in-house fights for the PBC as defenses for the foreseeable future of Charlo's career. But most likely Canelo beats Triple G and the title will just be handed to Jermall Charlo. And how he does with his reign, whatever he pursues, whoever he fights, you just hope that he fights someone significant instead of these type of opponents he's fought. From his last fight and his next fight against Centeno Jr. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.